All right. How's everyone doing tonight? Jenica, how's everyone doing tonight? All right. I needed Jenica because no one else wants to say anything. Even like Zanae. Zanae sent me a reel to do at youth, and then she didn't show up. She's sick? Oh. Dang it, Zanae. Well, anyway, guys, real quick, I just thought it was funny, and so I'm going to address it real quick. If you see someone taking pictures of you, might be Anna Grace, might be someone else. If you see the camera, though, let me just tell you, in Bible school, this was the funniest thing, because everyone would be here worshiping, right? You'd be like, and then the camera would get on you, and you're like, oh, boy, I better look spiritual. Yep. Oh, I mean, get on your knees. And then people just start doing everything. Don't just act normal, all right? If you happen to be, if Anna gets a good picture of you worshiping and you're like, oh, I like that, but you're not posing, okay? It's worship. You're not posing for your Instagram or nothing like that. If it happens, great, but don't see the camera and be like, oh, better act spiritual now, because that was Bible school all the time. And they had like the really big cameras you see at concerts swinging around, and so you'd see it start swinging around, and you'd see people, their eyes would catch it, and they'd be like, like, all right, now you're just trying too hard. But I think it's cool that we're getting the pictures. So thanks, AG. She's trying. Anyway, we are into tonight. Guys, I've been nervous this week, all right? Football is kind of taking over. Not as it shouldn't be, but it is. I'm sitting there at my desk trying to work, or I'm sitting there doing anything, and all I can think about is the game on Friday night against Rez, because it's a big one. We won our round one game. Now we're on to round two. We played Rez before, but it was a close game. It was 21-6 the first time or 21-16, and it's a big game. We got to win on Friday night, all right? So you guys be praying, all right? Show up. I'm just kidding. That's another funny story. When I was in Bible study game, and I'm like, oh, gosh, that's not how it works. But support us on Friday, all right? Because it's a big game, but I think we're going to be all right. But I've been nervous these last few days, but I feel better now after seeing practice today. It was a good one. Was it? Why is Brayden cooked? Brayden's just fine. No, we need him. So Friday night, be there if you can. But last week we finished our discipleship series. And so that was the last week. Last week was on, does anyone know? Discipleship, of what part? Week 4, the church and the word, boom. And so that was last week, and we've ended our series. And so that means that is the end, too, of doing like the small groups at the end. Did you guys like having like longer small groups at the end? Or sort of? You were sitting on the floor? Well, I wasn't sitting on the floor, so back problems. You guys like the small groups sometimes, all the time? All the time? You just always want to be in small groups? You guys made it to like 1 week. Yeah. I think, okay, anyway. We might do that sometimes, but I don't really, I like small groups, but I just don't like it taking the place of something else. But if we can fit it in at the end, then maybe for some of these series or at the end of series, then we will do that. But now we are on to, we just kind of have a like one-off sermon tonight, not part of a new series, and then we'll have the Friendsgiving, and then we'll have a little Christmas series, and then we'll start something new in January, which I am excited for, and for the Christmas series, because this is the best time of the year. Just so happy. I love Christmas. It's going to be great. I get to decorate a house. And I get to decorate our first house. Come on. How great is that going to be? And put up Christmas lights. And we're going to hang stockings over our fake fireplace. We're going to hang 4 of them this year in advance. 1 for Nitro, of course. And then 1 for the little girl that will be here in April. And then R2. So we got to get custom. It's going to be great, guys. I'm so excited. And with like this holiday season coming up and Thanksgiving and Christmas, I've been finding myself, as you guys would say, as an old head. Okay, and I've been like reflecting on things. And Sage was talking about earlier how she's seen these videos where they ask people and they're like, what year were you born in? Or what year do you have to be born in to be considered old? And people are saying like 2002. And you're like, wait a second. Literally, we've seen the videos. What? Yeah. Okay, 1900s. The 1900s. I'm not quite in the 1900s. 60s. That's my dad. I'm just kidding. 99? See, we don't really know. But anyway, you always call Dylan. Loyal always picks on Dylan for pushing 30. Hey, listen. Loyal always picks on Dylan for pushing 30. And you guys are always calling us out. But I will say, oh no, where is it? Oh, here it isn't. Guys, it's gone. Wait, I swear, I checked earlier. I said, oh yeah, perfect, there it is. This is my journal from Bible school. I'll find it eventually. And here's the thing. I was looking back at this thing today, and I opened right to the page. So I thought I could do it again. And I was like amazed at the things. Oh, I found it. See, it's right here. Where now I'm not getting like old, okay? But as I'm getting older, I'm starting to like look back and like reflect on things a lot differently. And man, it makes me like so thankful to realize where I'm at now and what God has done in my life. And so I was looking at this journal, and some of these things, hey boys, listen, are crazy. Okay? So I write in here, and this is my list right now of things I'm praying for, and I write the amp in the river of life because I wanted to come back here, but I didn't know what the plan was. I was in Bible school. I wrote future wife and kids. Come on. And here's the thing. When I wrote this, I probably was like, that's not going to happen for a while. Like I was single. I never had a girlfriend. I was like, I'm going to pray for him, but who knows when that's going to happen. Then right under that, so I wrote future wife and kids, and then I put future youth group kids. So you guys made the list. This is in 2019, all right? This is October 8th of 2019. Then I wrote Wellington. I wrote for my family. I wrote for Candace, who was pregnant at the time. Isn't this crazy? And then I was like, after reading this, I was like, dang, I never would have imagined that it would have only been like now that I'm married and have a wife, and now that it still sounds weird in my own head to say that I'm going to be a dad and we have a kid on the way, and I'm the youth pastor of the youth group that I always dreamed of being at. There's another part in here, actually just like on another page later where have like a, not going to say like God gave me a vision, but sort of like that, where I was wrote about how I could see myself preaching on the AMP stage as a student in Bible school, and was like, I hope I get to like go back there. I hope I get to be the youth pastor at the AMP one day. But I actually didn't know if it was going to happen or not. I didn't know what anything was. I was just a 19-year-old. Oh, here it is. It's right here. See, on this page. You guys can read it. No, I'm not going to. Not everything. You don't get everything out of here, okay? But I just like after looking back and then thinking about the things that was just like 6 years ago, and then where I'm at now, I never would have dreamed of like where I'm at now and what God has given me, and I am so thankful. Stop, you boys. That's enough. I am so thankful for what God has done in my life. I'm so thankful for like the grace and mercy and patience that He has shown me. And then it was making me think of this verse in Romans 2:4, because when you actually sit and reflect, I promise, like it is actually easy to realize how good you have it, even if you think you have a rough life, okay? All of you guys are from Wellington, Colorado, or in northern Colorado. That is a blessing, okay? I went to school in Oak Cliff, which is one of like the worst towns in Dallas, Texas, and there's tons of gang activity. Huh? No, I went to school there for Bible school. It is one of the worst towns. There is tons of gang activity. You hear gunshots nightly, like it just became normal. There was one point where we were doing a summer camp, and all the kids were outside playing, and gunshots go off, and none of the kids even like the students of the school react because we're used to it, and all the kids start screaming and freaking out, and parents are calling, and it was this whole thing. But that was just how Oak Cliff was. We would do basketball every Saturday. I would play basketball with the kids from the community, and they would walk in, and they'd walk into the corner first, and they'd put items in the corner, and they'd cover it up with their hoodie, and then they'd go play basketball. And if anyone walked in that corner, they would let you know to back off. It was just how things were. And so some of you guys, all right, and some of our football players think that they're tough, and we're from Wellington, okay? You don't got it tough, but that's a blessing, and something that you can be thankful for is the life that you live. Something you can be thankful for is the sacrifice that Jesus has made on the cross for you. Whether you think your life is hard or you think whatever, the fact that Jesus' sacrifice on the cross, that should be enough for you. Like, that alone is enough. It says in Romans 2:4, it's talking about how good God is. And in Romans 2:4, he says, don't you see how wonderfully kind, tolerant, and patient God is with you? Look back in your life and look at all the times when God was wonderfully kind and tolerant and patient with you. Man, because we, as humans and as sheep, Pastor was talking about it in a nice way. He was saying that sheep are not, he just, in a nice way, was saying that sheep are stupid, and it's true. Like, as humans, we are stupid, and we make the same mistakes over and over, and we fall into the same sin, and we do all the things, and when you look back and you see how patient God was with you, and how kind and tolerant he was, and all the things that he has blessed you with, and all the things that he's given you, he says, does this mean nothing to you? But can't you see that his kindness is intended to turn you from your sin? God's goodness and his kindness and his patience and his grace is intended to turn you from sin and towards what he has for you. When you turn from sin, it should be a complete 180 where you are leaving sin behind you and you are turning towards what God has for you. But instead, so often what we do as Christians is we abuse God's kindness and we abuse his grace. And instead of being thankful and allowing his kindness and goodness and grace to lead us back to him and lead us away from sin, we use it as an excuse to live however we want. Or we use it as an excuse to sin because we know that his grace is there. And then we end up abusing the grace of God and abusing his mercy and his kindness and his patience as an excuse so that we can live however we want to live. And as Christians, that is not right. As people of a relationship with Jesus, his grace and kindness is intended to turn us from sin, not be an excuse to sin. One of the other things I was reading about in the journal when I was writing about my future youth group, and I wrote that the number doesn't matter, or the number of kids that follow Jesus after they graduate is the number that really matters. And the thing is, like, as much as I'd love, like, hundreds of you guys every week in the youth group and a lot of people here in the gospel, I wouldn't care if you guys all graduated high school and never went to church again or didn't continue a relationship with Jesus. Okay, but it's not always, like, easy, and sometimes you have to do things that are hard. Too often we make living for Jesus seem like just this easy thing where you say a prayer and you're good, but living for Jesus is a sacrifice. Like, you have to make hard choices. You don't get to do what you want to do all the time. His grace is not an excuse for you to sin. His kindness is instead, and his grace is intended to turn you from sin and towards what he has for you. We have to understand that because of his sacrifice, that we should be so thankful for Jesus' sacrifice on the cross, that in response, we want to live for him. In response, we want to turn from sin and live towards what Jesus has, not because we have to, but because we want to. His sacrifice on the cross is enough. That kindness and that love that he showed for you on the cross should be enough to turn from your old ways and turn towards what he has for you. That alone is enough. It says in Romans 5:8 that God showed, or in other verses it says he proved his great love for us by sending Christ to die while we were still sinners. That sacrifice is enough. That kindness is enough. He proved his love for you. And so how do you show your love for Jesus back? He says it real simple. In John 14:15, he says, if you love me, then obey my commandments. If you love me, then you will live for me. It's simple. Jesus says, if you love me, obey my commandments. Because of his sacrifice, because of what he has done for you, because he proved his love for you in response, we should want to live for him. Not because we have to, but because we love him and we're thankful for what he has done. And it is our response is to then obey his commandments. We have to allow the Bible and Jesus' words to correct us. We have to allow them to convict us. We have to allow them to change us. We talked about this a little bit last week, but how the word has to have an effect on your life. Jesus' words, his commandments, the things he's asked us to do. Your convictions have to make a change on who you are. Because if you say you are a Christian, if you say you have a relationship with Jesus, then you cannot look like everyone else. You are not supposed to look like everyone else, but you are called to be set apart. You have to make sacrifices, but I promise that a sacrifice you make for God is a sacrifice that you will never regret making. Like there's been times when like giving money was hard, but I never looked back and was like, man, I wish I wouldn't have gave that money in the offering when I did. There's been times when like serving was hard, or doing something for God was hard, or doing something for someone else was hard, but I never looked back and be like, man, I wish I never would have just like dropped what I did, and I wish I didn't do that. I wish I didn't go to Bible school. I wish I didn't do what God called me to do. You never regret the sacrifices that you make for him. Because in those sacrifices, you find reward and blessing, but more importantly, fulfillment in life. There is nothing that will satisfy you more than living for Jesus and doing what he has called you to do. His grace and his kindness cannot be an excuse to live however you want, and an excuse to sin, but instead things that lead you closer in your relationship with him. Things that make you turn from sin. Flee sin and instead pursue a relationship with him even closer. They are not things that we can abuse or use as an excuse. But instead, when you think about all the things that God has done in your life, and you reflect and think about the things that he has done and the sacrifice that he made for you, and you look back on the times God showed up even when you didn't show up, or the times then he was patient with you when you were dumb, or the things you asked for that you weren't ready for, or whatever it is, and you actually spend time to think back on what God has done for you. And I know that this is something that the enemy tries to get you guys to stop and tries to get you to forget. I have seen people experience God do amazing things, and then they just forget about what God's done, and they walk away, and they act like God's never been there. And I'm like, do you not remember like a couple months ago when God showed up? Do you not remember at camp when you had that encounter with him? Do you not remember when this happened? The enemy will do everything he can to get you to forget what God has done. But when you look back on what God has done, and you look back on his kindness and his goodness and his mercy, and you reflect on how good he has been in your life, and you reflect on how at one point you were lost and you didn't know him, you didn't have a relationship with him, and he left the 99 and he came and found you. Like for the longest time, Reckless Love got overplayed, and even when it was overplayed, I would cry like every time I heard it, because I felt like the song was for me. Because I didn't grow up in church. My parents don't go to church. My brother didn't go to church. I didn't know anything about church other than Christmas Eve services. And then somehow I found my way here in 6th grade, and it changed my life. Not because my family was doing it, but because it was something that I got invited by a friend in middle school, and I started coming to youth group, and it changed my life. So when I would hear Reckless Love, I'd be like, man, he did leave the 99 and come. He found me. No, I'm not going to sing because that would be ugly. But I'm like, oh. When I like think back on how good he is and all the things he's done for me, like then in response, it makes me want to live for him. And this can be in big ways and in little ways. I'll tell you this one because it's funny, and it literally happened today. As I'm like writing the sermon and looking back and reflecting, I'm like sitting there reflecting, and I'm like, man, there's more I can give to God. Like I still feel like I'm distracted from things and all this stuff, and so I go on my phone, and guys, I go to the one app that I've been clicking on too much recently, and it was Clash Royale, and I deleted it right on the spot. I said, you know what? We're doing it. I said, guys, babe, I deleted Clash Royale. I'm no longer going to play it. And it was just like little things like that. And it was like Instagram. I put locks on all of my social media apps where I can only use them for like a certain amount of time a day. And like it can be little and practical things like that where, man, it's like I was just thinking back on how good God is and what he's done in my life. It was like, why am I wasting my time playing a game on my phone? Like, why am I wasting my time doing these things? And so we got rid of them. And I don't regret it at all right now. At all, all right? I don't. And so it can be little things like that, or it can be big things where you look back on what God has done for you, and then it leads you to his kindness and his mercy and his grace leads you to repentance. And so I want to challenge you guys as we close to reflect on what God has done in your life and to think back on how he has been patient to you, how he's been kind, how he's been good, how his grace has showed up, how he left the 99 to find you, how every time you mess up, he is still right there. And think back to all those things. And then out of that thankfulness, out of that position where you're like, man, God really has been there for me. I promise that when you really focus on that, it makes like these worldly sacrifices and saying no to your flesh seem like nothing in comparison to what God has done for you. And if it's nothing else, then think back to the sacrifice that he made for you so that you could have a relationship with God, so that you could spend eternity in heaven, so that you could have forgiveness, so that you could have all of these things and all of the blessings that come from knowing Jesus. Even if it's just that, and just his sacrifice, think back on how kind and loving he was to you, and then how you in return can then turn from your sin and grow closer in your relationship with him. And so as we close, we're going to have leaders on the side of the room, which we haven't had like a time of prayer in a while, or even an altar call in a while, because we've been in small groups, and we do like prayer requests in small groups, but it's just different, right? It's a little bit different of an atmosphere. And so I just want to challenge you guys to think back on the things that God has done in your life. And if you can't think of any, then think about the price that he paid on the cross for you. And then out of that place, let his kindness then lead you to repentance. Let his kindness then lead you to turn from sin and growing in your relationship with him. And so in this time, if you guys need prayer for anything, also for you high schoolers, it normally the worship team's up here, so you can't get prayer from them, but tonight you can. Aaliyah's not on the stage, so she's open for prayer. So take advantage of it, because the next couple weeks she'll be back on the stage singing. But if you need prayer for anything, then find a leader and get prayer. Look back into, like when I look back and see the things that God has done in my life, in my past, I'm like, oh, I know he's going to do it again. Like there's no reason for me to be nervous in my future, because if he did it for me once, he's going to do it for me again. Like if he's brought me this far, he's not going to leave me now, but he's going to continue the work that he's doing. And so allow that to grow your faith. And then if you need prayer for something that you're going through, find a leader and get prayer. If you just maybe need that kind of encouragement or that get back, or you've been struggling in your walk with God or whatever it is, and you know that you need to refocus your focus, and you need to just pay attention and just set your eyes back on Jesus, then find a leader so that they can encourage you, so that they can walk with you, so that they can know what you're going through as you are making that decision, even if it isn't saying yes to Jesus for the first time, but just to refocus on him and to reset your eyes on him. And so I'm going to close in prayer. And if you guys need prayer for anything, then find a leader and get prayer. But guys, it's a Christmas miracle because it's 8:15 and we're on time. So we got plenty of time for prayer. Jesus, we thank you for tonight, Lord. I thank you for your word, that it is alive and powerful. Lord, I just thank you so much for the sacrifice that you made on the cross for us. Lord, I thank you that you suffered and were beaten and were tortured and were mocked and was spit on, and you did all of that with us in mind. Lord, that you were beaten beyond human likeness. And it was by your stripes that we are healed. That you were whipped so we could be healed. You were beaten so that we could be whole. Lord, we thank you for the sacrifice and the price that you paid on the cross for us. Lord, that you prove your love for us. by dying on the cross and making a way for us to have a relationship with you. Lord, I thank you that when you died on the cross, you tore the veil in two, giving us access to the presence of God at any point, at all times. Lord, we are so thankful for the things that you have done, for your love and your grace and your kindness and your patience and your mercy with us. Lord, I pray that we would allow those things to help us grow in our relationship with you. We would allow those things to help us turn from sin and live for you, that we would show we love you by obeying your commandments. And in your name, amen.